If you've been struggling with your low point, the inconsistency of striking the ball, either too much ground before the ball or bouncing off the ground and thinning the ball, missing the ground completely and just either thinning or topping, then this tutorial is really going to help you. Because if you're anything like how Ugo and Otto were in a recent lesson, and if you want to see their lesson, just follow the link to the Wednesday night video and you'll see how it helped transform their striking, and it can do the same for you too. So I want to show you an exercise that's really going to help move your body into a place where the bottom of your swing is going to be in a functional place, so that enables you to release the club freely, striking the golf ball en route to the low point, taking the ground, the divot after the ball, and feeling that compressed strike. Because we've got to strike the ball higher up the face, which means we've got to have an angle of attack down, and we've got to be de-lofting the golf club somewhat, because if we're adding loft, we're going to be catching the bottom of the club face. Likewise, if the arc height is too high, i.e. the swing arc is rising above the ground, then we can't even make contact with the ball on the sweet spot. How do we move our body in a way to enable us to swing the club freely and get a good strike? Well, what we're going to look at is how you move your pressure and use that pressure to move the mass. Because what I see a lot of is mass sway. Upper body driven golf swings, which are literally just slowing the whole sequence down, resulting in the golf club taking over. And this brings the low point too far back, it shallows the swing arc, it rises the swing arc too, and we end up with strikes like this. So if I'm moving as a block, I can't really get that ball turf contact. That wasn't too bad, but I was catching the ground before the golf ball. And because I had a half decent lie, it kind of disguises it. But in order to take a divot after the ball, you probably saw what I already did there, just as in a practice swing, I shifted to the target. So how do we create that shift, especially in a big full swing? Well, we're going to do it with our lower body, because it's the lower body that's driving the sequence for the upper body to react to. And then the club can swing freely. That's the end of the chain. So we've got to look at how we're moving our feet, how we're using our feet. Now, this simple exercise requires no training aids, anything like that, just you and your golf club. And all we're going to do is start with our feet together. We're going to hold the club using a karate chop hold like this. And we're just going to rock the shoulders. So the club's just swinging from side to side. Arms staying straight. So it's just a side-on movement here. It's just a side-to-side movement. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a step back. But before I take the step back, I'm going to swing the club forward. So I've got my body moving in two different directions. I've got the arm swinging forward, and then I'm taking the step back. But I'm not just stepping back, I'm also dropping. I'm loading into the floor. And how are we doing that? Well, we're flexing. Ankles, knees, hips. So now my right shoulder, my trail shoulder, is considerably lower than my left, the lead. And where do we go from here? Well, we push off, we extend, and that shifts us into our lead side. Whilst the arms and the club are swinging back. I'll do that again, but I'll make it a flowing action now. So you can see I'm in the lead side, club's going back. And there's an extension to it that's really providing the push-off. Now we've got to be careful with this, because this is something that was a big focal point of the lesson with Ugo and Otto. It's the pelvis that we're shifting. We are separating the pelvis and the torso this way. We're not using the torso to just sway or tilt, because that's going to compromise everything, because now I'm stuck. now I'm in a place where I'm so stacked on the left side, I'm compressed into my left hip, I'm really tensioned in a place where it's difficult to get any kind of reactive push off and any kind of dynamic functional movement with the body. I've moved myself into a place where I've almost rendered myself here immobile, and it's not particularly great for the lower back either. We don't need to try to extend. This is something I see quite often, particularly with the 1, 2, 3, because what we're doing here is we're working on the 1, the 2 and the 3. What I often see is a kind of deliberate attempt to almost force the 3 and it's the upper body, the mass with the upper body that's really doing it, instead of it being driven from the lower body. A pelvic sway, a shift, the target. And that is what's gonna create this natural extension through the thoracic, because as I'm rotating back and shifting to the target, the thoracic extends, okay, as we rotate. So our body shifts and I get an extension through the back naturally. So I don't have to try and create this extension here. We get it automatically with the separation. It's a lateral, a linear separation. We're translating the pelvis to the target as the torso rotates back. It's creating this natural stretch. And this is the exercise that's really going to help you achieve that feel. So shift your attention to the pelvis. Let's focus on the pelvis movement. Notice how when you step back and then push, you're pushing your pelvis laterally to the target. But notice there's still flex in the trail knee. I'm still engaged with the floor, because this is going to help us create this rotational force, and it's going to help us push off and rotate to fire that pivot and sequence the levers in the downswing, so we get that natural negative angle of attack. We get that downward angle of attack and that compression. So if we take it to a more horizontal level here, so now I'm going to look at the more transverse rotational element of it. Now we're going to start to rotate, and still the same exercise, taking the step back and shifting into the lead side, but creating first of all this dynamic rotation here. So there's almost like a kind of a trace of rebound here. I'm going from side to side. I'm not doing this in a very deliberate, manipulated way. This is not prescribed movement. This is exploring movement, guys. We're just challenging our body to explore how we can possibly move, our capability. So I'm going to get some rebound going. You can feel that kind of that elastic nature of the movement here. And then once I've moved forward, once I've rotated to the target, I'm going to step back and then rebound with the pelvis to the target. So now I'm feeling in a more rotary sense of separation. And you can really feel that bite point in the motion where you reach kind of maximal tension, and you're really going to feel that with the club in your hand. If you start to make a few swings now with the feet close together, nice easy swings, just swing the club forward, and as you swing it forward and feel that momentum with the club going forward, you're going to take that step back. But remember, it's not just a step, it's a drop, and it's not a big step. Shoulder width is going to do it. But then we're going to feel the pelvis shift immediately in response to that push off with the trail foot. And what this is doing is it's accelerating the club back. It's actually accelerating my rotation. It's allowing me to freely move my upper thoracic. That's rotating the rib cage, swinging the arms and the club freely whilst we're loading into the ground with the lead side. And this creates that stretch. And that stretch potential is key for that elastic recoil, for the speed in the downswing. And I'm still in flexion, I'm still engaged. I'm feeling loaded and torqued into the ground, ready to push off and rotate. So we can explore that shift and exaggerate that rotation to the target. It's taken us into a natural collapse with the lead side. But the upper body, the torso's in a healthy form. It's not putting excessive tension on the lower lead side. It's not taking us into a place where we've got excessive lateral flexion, excessive extension. We're not going into hyperextension. We're getting extension in a very natural way through this lateral separation. That's what's creating this natural extension. This is going to help us now as we start to shift, because as soon as you push off now and the body starts rotating, you're moving into the downswing. You're going to start to push off, fire the sequence, but the most important thing is that you're in your lead side, you're forward in relation to the golf ball. Notice where I'm going to strike the golf ball here. If I want to do an exercise with the ground, find your stance, find your normal ball position, then bring the trail foot back so it's kind of in line with where the ball would be. Now just make some swings, getting some rhythm. That's all it's for, is just to get some momentum. And as you swing the club forward, notice I'm not making a big full swing. If I make big full swings, I can't get back. It all becomes very cumbersome, very difficult to control, and suddenly the body starts moving in a very uncontrolled way, which leads me back to that instability. The nervous system starts to tension things up for control. The body starts to essentially tighten up because it's trying to maintain your dynamic balance, and you're compromising it a lot. We are compromising our balance at speed, and we're training our nervous system to recognize it and accept it, because we're doing it in a functional way that is stable, it's safe, it's going to let the body move freely. So we've got to be careful that we do these exercises correctly, because we could be introducing unnecessary instability, and then the body does the opposite. It's going to tighten up and prevent any potential fall, and then we end up moving in a more blocked fashion where we're tightening up and everything starts to move together, and guess what? The golf club outruns us. We can't stop it, because this thing's we've got to speed it up, and it's going to travel faster than us because we need the speed, and we go straight to the end of the chain, and then that's when we experience all these issues with low point control. Low point awareness, should I say. But it comes from movement awareness, and sequence awareness. So here we go. Ball in the middle, bring the trail foot back, get swinging. Notice where the divot is. We'll notice where this movement takes us. It's there, just where I'd be striking the golf ball, and the divot's after. So I can get a sense of where I'm striking the floor. Same thing, in front of the golf ball. We can do this with a ball. You've just got to make sure you take your lead step first and drop. Ready to push, and it's the push off back that's going to swing the arms and the club. And I couldn't really strike it any better than that, to be honest. It was a perfect shot. A very assertive move towards the target. That one not so, to be honest, but I felt where I needed to go, but I felt I was stuck in flexion for too long in the backswing, didn't get the shift. That was better. Very different. Very different, that one. Now, you don't have to hit shots with it. You can go just straight from the exercise to then playing a shot with a normal stance. And yeah, that was a good one as well. Can't really hit it any better than that. I felt the ball at the club face. I felt the divot afterwards, and I can obviously see it. So, feeling very positive through the ball. I'm actually sensing I could push off better, and that's what these exercises are doing. They're heightening your level of attunement, so you're much more aware of what's going on, and so you can sense where you can go in your movement to improve it, to optimize it. I'm very mindful here that I can push off more, but that's another video. For today, we're just focusing on the shift, transferring that pressure back to the lead side. And it's a mini drop and pop. It's a mini trail side drop and pop. Drop, pop, and that's what throws us into that lead side. I'm still in flexion on the trail side, but I have dropped and popped whilst in flexion. So I've not extended, I've dropped and popped, but I'm still in that flexed range. Because I drop, pop, and then you'll feel the drop again into the lead. So you never really lock out, you never go into full extension because you are on the journey, flexing, extending, flexing. And it's pushing you back to the target. Little bit steery, bit sawn off that one, no problem. I'm going to go for a big push off now. So when you start doing these exercises and you can feel these movements and where they're leading you to, it's inviting you into an opportunity to explore further, expand these movements, expand the patterns, and really explore the rest of the journey. So now I'm going to go into a pop. And I added that lead side push. Now, when I say push, I mean push off. We're never pushing into the floor. We're working with gravity. We're either falling or we're pushing off. Because this is effortless. I'm dropping, I'm falling, or I'm pushing off. And that is a very effective, efficient use of the ground, which creates momentum instead of pulling it up or pushing it down. So we're pushing off or dropping. And we're doing that with our body weight. So now I'm going to feel that push off. And that's so much more dynamic. I want to feel that in my swing. So a little bit clean, probably pushed off a bit early. So now I'm going to finish off with just dropping a little bit more in that change of direction. I'm not going to do the step drill because I know how it feels. I know I need to drop and pop. And I know the tempo, the timing of it. The arms are still travelling up, the club's accelerating. We've got that momentum, but I've gone the other way to create it. And there's a stretch there. And that is the green light. That is go time to fire the sequence with the push off. And that's probably the best strike of the lot. Strong flight, tiny bit of draw, did it after the ball, felt my extension, and that extension, that push off was giving me the stability in the finish to let the follow through continue. The others were feeling somewhat constrained, but I was still ensuring a strike. I was getting the ball and then the turf, and that's what this lesson's all about. It's about getting the low point in front of the golf ball, controlling that low point, getting that release, freewheeling, ensuring that ball turf contact, ensuring that compression, getting that ball speed up, getting that distance, and enjoy flushing it. So guys, if you've enjoyed that, drop your comments below. Let me know how it goes with your practice. Any suggestions for tutorials, let me know. But keep us up to date with how you're practicing. Let us know how these drills are helping you with your game, because I love to hear from you. Really helps me with future tutorials. And more importantly, just like to hear how you're getting on. Because at the end of the day, we're here to help you, and that's what it's all about. Enjoy the practice, guys. See you soon.